This video is brought to you by Straight Goods News, Canada's alternative online news source. Visit straightgoods.ca.
First things first, while the government was alluding and being quite negative towards our proposals in question period, the government did not say no. We sent an email just recently to the House Leader's office suggesting that we would be moving motions this afternoon. The government asked to see the language that we would be moving. We are now going to have a conversation with the government about what we're proposing. Again, this is even happening in the Senate of all places. Why it can't happen in the House of Commons is beyond me. This is in fact good for the government's own purposes. So let's see if the government's actually open to the idea. So until they say an outright no, we're going to continue to do the work that Canadians sent us to do.
So some details on the motions. You're drawing up the motions now. Can you tell us what the motions are?
We have a number of motions that we wanted to move on the specific aspects of this bill, particularly around the environment, fisheries, and some of the others that you're aware of. And that language is what we'll be sending to the government in a few minutes.
Okay, can you tell us how many, for example, how many bills you want to split into, what you want split off?
What we're trying to establish first is the principle that the bill can be split and needs to be split. That will allow Canadians the conversation that they so desperately need to understand what is being proposed. It is not right for the government to say more than 400 pages, 750 clauses, and there's nothing Canadians should be worried about. They should just simply trust the Conservatives. That's not good enough. So let's have the conversation. So we're starting with the most obvious. 2/3 of this bill has all to do with the environment. Let's talk about that first. We'll send the government that proposal, like I said, within a few minutes.
Do you think that should also be done to the refugee bill, sort of another omnibus bill with other components that perhaps would be more, problematic than others?
Yeah, I mean, this is a different pattern. They're setting very bad precedents as a government, continuing to expand these omnibus bills to do something they were never designed to do. The government says there's more debate than 20 years. We've never seen a bill like this, ever. And it's bad protocol, and it's used to be something that Mr. Harper was dead set against when he was in opposition. And we have all the quotes that you hear us talking about. So if those were the principles, then what's changed? Is it simply the acquiring of power? Well, let's do better than that. They claim that they would do better than the Liberals, and they obviously are going in the wrong direction. So let's start to clear up how we use this technique. It's a lot of power. They understand that. They're abusing that power. Let's stop it. The idea that to be accused from the Conservative Party of trying to divide Canadians.
The Sask Party.
Excuse me, sorry, the Sask Party or the BC Liberal Party or whatever they call themselves wherever they are in the country, from Conservative commentators to talk about dividing the country when the very idea of dividing the country for political gain was designed by Conservative operators is ridiculous. I mean, these guys have no credibility when they talk about trying to keep this country together.
So just to understand the line proposed things that were actually part of the budget and that were economic measures like OAS. This morning you mentioned OAS, where the OAS changes were part of the budget, the EI changes were part of the budget.
There's a mix, though. To be clear, a number of the measures extend from pieces in the budget, but go so much further. We want to have accountability. Canadians want accountability from this government. Every design and measure that they have should be held out in the light of day and sent to the right committee for the proper study. So we'll get to that conversation, but first things first. The government needs to concede to the idea that this isn't healthy and Canadians don't like this type of secrecy, and for a government that came into office on accountability as their number one issue, this is hypocrisy, and Canadians don't tolerate that.
And where do you go